Hi, hello, namaskar, what's up everybody? This is Shubham Thakur here and welcome to Shubham Thakur's Live. So today I'm going to be discussing about yoga, mindfulness and meditation and the importance of cultural heritage with our guest who is from Australia and the founder of Infinite Yoga and Wellness. Here I'm welcoming Miss Jeanette Peterson. Hello, welcome Jeanette, welcome to Shubham Thakur's Live.
Great to be here.
Yeah, so how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. On this nice warm summer, we're
Yeah.
almost feeling like summer evening in Melbourne. It's great.
Yeah, that's so good. And let's start the interview or the live session. So first of all, as you are the yoga trainer, yoga coach, and yoga wellness and mindfulness coach. So can you please give a brief about your journey to become a yoga coach and your whole life, your experiences?
Absolutely. So, yoga's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I've always done yoga for
Yeah,
myself, and
yeah,
I found that it obviously had an impact on my life. But
yeah,
gradually throughout my career, I worked in the corporate world for a very long time, owned my own businesses, lectured at tertiary level, and I found that people constantly came to me and said to me, "How come you're so calm?" You know, people in your situation are usually really stressed and really strung out, so they always wanted to know what my secret was. So I tended to help people with these things just by default, and I
yeah.
discovered that it was probably something that I should do. So about a year ago, I decided to leave that corporate space and set up the business so then I could help people directly to use yoga and to become beneficial in their lives so they can live their best life possible, because that's what it gave me. So that's kind of been my journey.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And in today's world, there are so many different perception about yoga. Like is this for exercise? Is this for meditation? But could you could you please tell that what yoga really is? What is the real yoga? Yeah,
Well, yoga, I mean, it's a Sanskrit word, and if you
yeah,
try to translate it loosely to English, it means union in English. So, in the concept of yoga, it's basically about the union becoming one with who you really are. So, it's an inward journey. And unfortunately, we often think that yoga in some countries is exercise, and
yeah,
it's not necessarily the case. So, it's just about taking that inward journey so you can go on that journey and discover who you are, because we spend a lot of time in the world looking out to who we are, and we become things that we see that other people are doing, and we do that through culture and social conditioning, whereas with yoga it enables you to actually look inward, so then you get a real understanding of who you are, so then when you show up in the world you show up as you and you feel very clear and you have a good understanding of all the things that come to you because you have that clarity of purpose in knowing who you are. So
yeah.
it's a huge part of life, absolutely.
Yes, and as I know that in the Western culture and every country has different perception about yoga. So, according to you, what are the different definition, especially in what are the different definition of yoga, especially in the Western culture, Western countries like America, and I also know that Australian has a very vast cultural diversity. So, yeah, what are the different definition of yoga there?
So in Australia, like most Western countries, we've kind of watered down yoga. So a lot of what we see in yoga, particularly in Australia, we see as exercise. So people think it's about moving the body and it's about postures and a little bit about breathing and trying to relax, but we don't really actively engage in that open space about the other elements of yoga. And
Yeah,
it's probably evolved that way over many years, but in Australia, we're known as being the most culturally diverse country in the world. So we
Yeah.
have so many different varieties of culture here that I find it interesting that we still haven't completely found our way back to the true essence of what yoga is. There are pockets of it that occur in Australia, but the vast majority of people that I come across, they think yoga is exercise, which is interesting because it couldn't be any further from the truth.
Yeah. So yoga is a very important part of all our lives, and from ancient times, the yoga is from Asian, like it's basically originated from India, our country. So what do you think? What's the importance of yoga in everyone's life? What's the role of that?
Well, the role is that inward journey. So it's about being able to experience the essence of who you really are.
Yeah,
And I mean, we all have a purpose to be here. And a lot of people feel like that it's kind of this groundhog day, that we're just waking up every day and we're just living the next day and the next day and the next day. And we really lack that purpose. When people really embrace yoga into their life in all the elements that it has, it enables them to go on that inward journey and find that clarity and that understanding. So then the way they see the world and interact with the world is really different because you have that sense of clarity and purpose. And it's really difficult to be able to integrate in the world in any way if you don't know who you are. That's the
yeah,
basis of living a
yeah.
good life in yoga, is understanding first who you are, so then you can understand what's going on in the world around you. And it's so important that people understand how they can embrace that across the whole span of what yoga means.
Okay. So, there are the yoga is a very vast in itself. So, like, what are the different types of yoga? Like, I read from Wikipedia, and so I read some blogs as well. To What are the different types of yoga? So, could you tell me, please?
There are so many different types of yoga, and I think that it depends what country you go to. They've evolved in so many different ways. I mean, the
Yeah,
basis of yoga, hatha yoga being kind of the original posture elements. So then there's pranayama, which is obviously the elements of breathing. And then obviously there's a meditation component, which is really important. But in the actual posture component of yoga, especially across Western countries, they've embraced so many different types of it. So we have hot yoga, and I
yeah,
think that the hot yoga element kind of participated in Australia in making people think yoga was exercise, because then you could go to yoga and you could sweat. And so then it made
yeah,
people think even more that it was exercise. So it kind of embraced that concept of exercise. There's vinyasa, so there's flow yoga, there's yin yoga, where you're basically laying and holding postures for long periods of time to allow the maximum stretch. There's
yeah,
a yoga for everybody, right? You just have to find the one that A, fits into your life and kind of you gravitate to naturally, and it's part of you. And people tend to do that. So when I teach yoga, I teach people a few different types, and it gives them
yeah.
the opportunity to find the one that they connect with. And I think that's the most important part, is find the yoga that you connect with, and then it will enhance your life, and it's more likely to stay with you, you know, for the rest of your life, which it should.
Yes. In the Western culture, like in India, there is the hot yoga. You told me that. So it basically it done by the use of goat. In Western culture, people are really fond of the hot yoga. So how it is different from the real yoga? I think it's kind of more of fun and more of exercise and body warming rather than the spirituality. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
absolutely. So
yeah,
it's not very engaging spiritually, no, because people
yeah.
are so busy sweating and feeling hot, and so it's it's good if you want to stretch, while you're in a
Yeah.
hot room. But it's definitely for some people. Some people love it and embrace that kind of yoga. Even people that are on very much a spiritual journey with yoga, some people really embrace that. Like if you have a body that is very tight and you struggle to reach your toes and you struggle to
Yeah.
get into some of the poses and stretch, the warmth helps to kind of relax the muscles a little, so it enables you to stretch more. But if you're like me and you're really flexible, then it's potentially not a good thing, because then I would overstretch, and if I overstretch, I'm more likely to injure myself. So it's part of that. Find the yoga that works for you. And if hot yoga is the yoga that works for you, then you should embrace it. But if you go there and you leave and you feel a twinge in your back the next day, or it doesn't quite feel right, then potentially maybe that's not the right one. But you should never stop looking. You don't just go to one type and say, no, yoga's not for me. You should go and try others until you find the one that you connect to. That's probably the most
Yes.
important advice that I probably give anybody about that physical movement component of yoga.
Yeah. So here comes the another point, which is really important for us, is that the yoga is kind of religion in itself. So as you told me that that Australia has a very vast diversity of culture and religion. So what do you think that how it is important? How religion is how's the important? What's the importance of religion in our lives? Like what's the role of religion in our daily life?
Well, religion for many people is incredibly important in their life. So sometimes it's been important from birth, that it's been part of their cultural heritage, part of their upbringing. But for some people, they discover religion later in life. I mean, when it comes to yoga, you can be any religion. It doesn't matter what your religion is for you to do yoga, because yoga is kind of a way of living, right? So it's
Yeah,
kind of living at peace and harmony inside yourself, and that can connect to any religion. So for some people, that they may find that if they're very religious, and it doesn't matter what it is, so whether it's Hindu, or whether it's Christianity, or whatever it is, that yoga can very well sometimes deepen that sense of connection to
yeah,
whatever your religion is. So, people say frequently that it brings them closer to God, not further away. It helps them to be closer. And the reason for that, I think, potentially is because once you understand yourself, you understand better about what that connection is to whatever the religion is that you kind of align to. I mean, to be honest, I think they're all beautiful and they all serve people in their own individual way. And it's part of the process of life, finding if there is a particular religion that you align to it. If it's for you, don't align to it just because you've been taught that and your parents were taught that and your grandparents. Go on that journey inward and feel into what it is, and
yeah,
then follow it if it feels right for you. If it doesn't, there's lots more to choose from, and you can follow another one that feels right for you. It's so independent, and it forms really beautifully when you think of it in yoga and in religion, because it's the same thing. In yoga, you just find the one that works for you, that you connect to, because there's no point in spending 20 years trying to connect to something that doesn't feel real to you, when you could spend an hour going somewhere else and suddenly you feel that sense of connection. And it's all about connection, because we're all here to live the best life that we can. And to do that, you have to be happy. So there's no point
yeah,
chasing somebody else's happiness by somebody else's means. Chase your own,
yeah.
because it's your life. That's the whole point.
Yes. And the religion and the yoga is all about the spirituality. So, what do you think that how does yoga help us to connect our inner self? Because the inner self, the person and the world which is inside us, that really matters to us. because that's how we present, or that's how I live, and that's how we change the world, or we do something and create something better for people. Yeah,
Absolutely. It's really hard to get out and do some good in the world and change the world, right? If you don't know you first. So I frequently say to people, if you really want change in the world, I mean, there's a great saying, it says, be the change that you want to see. So
yeah,
first you need to do the work for you, so then you have clarity about who you are. And then by doing that, you automatically impact the people that are around you, and they can go on the same journey and get that clarity, and then they do the same thing to other people, and that's how the world changes, in that
yeah.
ripple effect of impact. But you have to do the work on you first for you to participate in that process with people around you. Absolutely.
Yes. So the religion and the yoga is all the part of spirituality. And the another thing which we inherit from our parents of our religion is that the culture we have, the different culture of different religions, right? Every culture, see, every religion, every country, and every minorities have everybody has culture, and a different culture. That America has Thanksgiving, so we have Diwali and Holi and something. Australia has different festivals. So that's a part of culture. So what is cultural heritage, and why it is important for us, and what's the importance of that in everyone's life?
Well, culture is huge because it determines our own independent history. So, where our family have brought us to where we are, right? So,
Yeah,
my culture is specific to me, but it's not just culture; it's my interpretation of that culture, right?
yeah,
So, if I'm very outward focused, I might interpret culture in a way that I feel I'm expected to interpret it. But if I go on that internal journey in that spiritual space and really understand who I am, I don't only embrace whatever my history is, my heritage of my ancestors and
yeah,
my culture, but it means that I'm much more available and open to accepting the heritage and the culture of other people. And this is particularly a big thing in Australia because we have so many diversities in culture and in history. And so by being really aware of who you are, it means that you feel very connected to everyone else that are around you.
yeah,
And so you can embrace everybody's culture. You can embrace everybody's religion, everyone's beliefs, because you feel very comfortable in knowing and owning what yours are. So you're not trying to kind of imprint them onto other people, you're just embracing it openly. And I think it's really, really important, and it's a much better way for us to have better community engagement. So even locally, when if you go to your workplace and you have people of different cultures, you have better relationships with those people in your
yeah,
greater community. And then globally, we have better relationships, right? If we
yes,
understand what culture and community and heritage means, we can have greater relationships right across the world in that same vein. But understanding who you are is the key to being able to unpack that and find, because it's you found your place in the world. And once you find your place in the world, the clarity and that understanding settles into your heart and you feel comfortable with all of that. So, I mean, I embrace all the cultures that are around
yeah.
me. And I think I feel very privileged to live in Australia and be exposed to so much variety of culture that it enriches you as a human being if you can learn to really embrace all that that means.
Yeah. So, so that's a very good point and the very good answer you gave about the cultural heritage. So, one and the last question is that, see, I researched about Australia so much a few days back. So, I want to know that is like to be, or what is feel to be, to be in Australia and surrounded by the every culture in Earth present. So as we all know that Australia has a very large diversity of culture. So how it is to be like that? So how it is like to be there? how Australia, the environment, the people, and the the happiness, and what it's like to be in Australia. Yeah,
It's fantastic because it's like having a little bit of every country right here. So in Australia, we get to experience all the festivals. So you talk about Diwali, and there's so many different festivals from all different cultures from all over the world. I mean, I've been to Buddha's birthday festival, and they put on huge festivals. And so
yeah,
obviously we've got Jewish festivals, and so all the different cultures, they bring food. And I mean, just in
okay,
Melbourne alone where I live, there is so much diversity in the food that you can eat and experience from all over the world, that
yeah,
it enriches our lives. And so I feel incredibly privileged that I get to live in a country where I feel like there's a little bit of so many countries all over the world. And it's beautiful that when people come to Australia, that they bring that heritage and they bring that culture with them, and then they engage and they show other people that. So it teaches us respect and understanding. So I think it's a great way to live, and it's definitely a privilege to live in a place where I get to experience that in so many different ways, in my work, in my communities, in education, right across the whole community. It's a great thing.
okay. So that's the wonderful live session, and I'm so honored to have you on my show. The knowledge you shared on this platform, my viewers, I really love to see that, and this video will be out on my Instagram feed and YouTube as well. And literally, the knowledge you gave to us is really appreciable, and really really informative, and yeah, it's really fruitful for us. So thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you so much. Namaste.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to be here. And I think these things are so incredibly important for us to do, because especially in times like now with COVID and the way it's hit the entire world, the way that we can
Yeah,
come together by coming
yeah,
together this way, coming together culturally, coming together spiritually. There are so many things that we can now do. And so we're probably more connected throughout the world
yeah.
than we have been ever before. So I have a lot of hope in my heart for the future and where we're heading together. So I'm happy to be here and talk to you. It's been an absolute pleasure looking at your lovely
uh,
smiling face.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So you have the pretty smile too. So yeah, hope we can
That's what
collaborate
life's
in
about.
future. Yeah,
Keep smiling and have lots of hope in the future. Because if we hope for a brighter future, we can make a brighter future.
okay, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Bye bye.
Bye.